like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings. This is the channel you need, so subscribe and follow Carmentary.
What's going on, folks? It's time for another episode of Carmentary English Edition. It's a beautiful sunny day as I drive from Sapporo to Niseko. I have some meetings out there. Thought I'd take a few minutes, maybe about 10 minutes here to chat with you, bring you up to date on what's been happening in Japan. I mentioned the sunny day because it's kind of a rarity these days, or at least the last month or so here in Japan. We have been seeing enormous amounts of rain. Hokkaido generally does not have much of a rainy season, but that is not the case this year. Just gloomy, rainy days, endless, like, oh man, like, so depressing. Business sucks because no one wants to go out when it's raining. There was a lot of devastation last week here in Hokkaido, but that pales in comparison to what happened in Hiroshima, Osaka, and Kita-Kyushu down there on the main island. A week of non-stop rain, and they were setting like new records every day, like the most rain ever recorded for one day since they started recording rain levels, and that is like over 100 years. They've been recording the rain for a long time here in Japan, and they were setting new records. Like, we have never gotten this much rain in one day ever. Like, and they say on the news, they're like, in Japanese, バケツがひっくり返ったような雨が降る可能性があります. Which basically means it's gonna rain as if someone turned a bucket upside down. Like, water, whoa, like it's not rain, it's just someone turned on the tap from the sky. We saw on the news the river level in Kurashiki, I think the area that got really bad flooding and landslides. The river levels raised by 5 meters. 5 meters! That is like huge! It rained down there for a week non-stop. Basically, someone turned the bucket upside down non-stop, 24 hours a day for a week. And the river levels raised 5 meters. And that's just like nothing's gonna hold that back. So I checked on Google yesterday, and the #1 trending topic globally on Google was Japan flooding. So obviously it's made world news. Everybody knows about this. You've probably seen little snippets of it on CNN or whatever fake news source you view. But the flooding is not fake news, I'll tell you that. This is like the real deal. So very sad. 150 people so far have been found dead. Homes swept away, whole communities just, mountains coming down. Japan has, in a lot of parts of Japan, it's very unstable mountains. A lot of these foothills are very susceptible to landslides. There's some areas, okay, for example, where I live, in the village where I live, we are rated as the 3rd most stable spot in Japan. And that was like talking about earthquakes. So when there's an earthquake, you have places that are very shaky, and then you'll have places that are on really solid bedrock, and they're very stable. And Jozanke, where I live, my phone! Shut up! Sorry. I'm getting a few messages coming in here. So Jozanke, the village where I live, it's like, it is a solid rock. There are cliffs visible on the hillsides, and the rivers are very carved out and deep. The valleys are very deep, so you can tell that we're sitting on like some really hard bedrock, and below that is the river rivers are very far down. So there's no worry about flooding near my house where I live, and we really don't feel earthquakes unless it's like a massive one and it's very close. So that's good for us, but the majority of Japan is geologically, we're on the Ring of Fire. It's rather unstable. A lot of these mountains are young mountains, new mountains, a lot of dirt. And so when these heavy rain comes, boom, landslides. I don't know. I think, this is just a random thought I had, the property values and the property value system, the system they have for setting property values, the government goes around and kind of sets up the property values for the whole nation. You can go online and look in your neighborhood or wherever and kind of see what the government sets as the basis of the property values, and that is what your taxes, your property taxes, are based off of. I think they really need to reevaluate that, because, for example, where I live, my house and my property, the value is absolute crap, okay? Which was nice when we bought our property because it's cheap. But now, looking to the future and seeing what's going on, in downtown Sapporo, which geologically is a very unstable spot, it was under the ocean until whatever, 20,000 years ago or something. It's super sandy and it's super shaky. They get earthquake damage, they can have tsunamis. The flooding is a real issue in the city of Sapporo, and yet the property values are outrageous. It's like, and they're going up. And it's because, you know, people are coming in and buying property and people want to live near the city. I understand that. It's practical, but it's very unsafe. You know, your house could fall down in an earthquake. And yet, my property, we're on solid bedrock, no chance of flooding, never really have any earthquake problems. And our property is like 10,000 yen for like one tsubo, which is 2 tatami mats, is like 10,000 yen, like $100. And in the city of Sapporo, that same size will be between 3,000 and 5,000 US dollars. It's just astronomical. And it seems kind of crazy. It's like everything is just based on, you know, how close you are to the city center. And I don't know, I think that in Japan it seems to make sense that that would be better if you valued the safer properties more. And it would make me happy, because then my property would be worth a lot more. And someday when someone wants to live in a safe area, maybe I can sell my land and house and move to Bali and live in a little shack on the beach. Sounds good to me. Okay, so that's about it. What else do I have in closing? Tough times for Japan, but Japan is, as everybody knows, quite strong and quite resilient to these natural disasters that just seem to keep on coming. I think the toughest thing now is there have been so many things in the last few years, between the great earthquake in Tohoku in 2011, earthquake in Kumamoto in Kyushu a couple years ago. We have the Olympics coming up in 2020. Property booms in Niseko, for example. So what we're seeing is a massive shortage of construction workers, and it's really putting a strain on the entire construction industry. There's just not enough people and not enough companies to supply all these construction sites. And a lot of the construction sites are these rebuilding construction sites. So Tohoku area after the earthquake, Kumamoto also, and now in Hiroshima and all these places where the flooding was, it just sucks a lot of the heavy machinery needed to clear all that stuff up. and then you need people to run that, and then you need carpenters to come in and start to rebuild all these houses and buildings and hospitals and factories and whatever was there. And either Japan is going to have to like really increase the incentive for young people to become construction and engineer and carpenters, or they're going to have to start importing workers from overseas to do those kind of jobs. Maybe they already are. I don't know. I don't see a big I don't see that very much, but maybe that's just because I'm not on those sites. So that's a big problem. And these sites that really bring in all the construction companies, they pay well. So a lot of construction workers, for example, from here in Hokkaido, will travel to these areas and stay there for like 6 months or a year or a couple years and work these construction jobs that pay double what they would get here in Hokkaido. So then, for example, someone just wants to build a house here in Hokkaido. They're going to really struggle because now they're competing against these other much higher paying jobs. So really tricky situation. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you care. Leave a comment. And as all the big YouTubers say, smash that like button! But don't hurt your computer, because you probably paid a lot of money for it. So just tap the like button. Thanks, folks. I enjoy these times we spend together in my car chatting. And I'll be back again with another episode. Next one's going to be in Japanese. Okay, have a nice day. Enjoy your drive.
So subscribe and follow Carmentary.